Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life and, most importantly, coping with life on a budget. We all know that the prices are all escalating up, and some of us are on fixed incomes, and there's no way that we can keep up with the inflation. And so, part of what we do on a Friday evening is talk about how to better utilize your leftovers and also how to cook healthier meals on a tight budget. And today we're going to be talking a lot about oats. I'm going to be making muffins and cookies, but I want to make sure you understand that I am a diabetic who controls her diabetes by what I eat. It's amazing how that is possible to do. I was absolutely stunned when I realized I was actually doing a lot better than I thought I was. When my doctor said, you've done a really good job to keep control of your diabetes. And so I'm due to go back to have another A1C done, and it'll be interesting to see if I've still managed to keep it under control. But what I thought I would do is to show you what I do. I was, right from the beginning when I first got diagnosed, I asked Jody, our admin, who I know has diabetes, a lot of questions about what I needed to be aware of. And what I realized was I wanted to know what I could eat, not what I couldn't. And I think one of the best things that Jody told me was you can have whatever you like in moderation. And that is the whole trick, right? It's all about portion control and not depriving yourself of too much. It's just a case of be aware of what you're eating. And one of the things I realized was I do like cookies and muffins, but I know that they are not good for you if you are diabetic. And so what I have done is I've developed a way of being able to eat them when I want to without feeling too guilty. Now, that sounds well and good, but also it's a great way to use up fruit that maybe, has been hanging around a while. You will see that I've got some oranges here I want to use up. I've got some dried cranberries that I want to start using up. I did some dumpster diving in my big deep freeze, and I found some blueberries that were time to eat them and some peaches. So we're going to make a blueberry peach cobbler, but using oats. We're going to be making a peach cranberry, a lemon oatmeal muffin. And then also I'm going to make some nut cookies. So why use oats instead of regular flour? Well, quite honestly, oats have a lot of minerals in them. And it's the highest concentration of minerals, really. They have manganese in particular, right? So anyway, biophosphorus, they've got copper in them, have above average amounts of iron, zinc, and B vitamins, which we know are good. You will also find potassium and calcium as well. So really good idea. All right. Plus, oats are absolutely rich in antioxidants, which can help prevent premature deterioration of your cells. Good thing. Of course, it has soluble fiber, and that's good bacteria growth for our digestion. That really helps that. And it helps reduce your blood sugar, which is a good idea. Also, your LDL cholesterol, if you have a problem with that. And also, eating something with oats in it makes you feel full at a way faster rate than something that doesn't have oats in it. And then if you actually will reduce the probability of developing things like asthma and stomach upset stuff, right? Just by adding some oats to your meal or to your day. And if you're not adding oats, the question is why not when you can? All right, so here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is get the cobbler going, just so that I've got something. Oh, I better warm up Cal here. And all I'm going to do, really simple. Oh, I forgot to put my lights. Hold on a second. Because the light will fade soon. We might need more light. There we go. So I have got the easiest situation. I've got some I've got some previously frozen peaches. So what I thought I would do is just use those up. And order some fresh. And I've got some blueberries, so I thought we'd put some of those in with it. And I'm just straining off some of the juice because we don't want too much of that. And just with nothing else in it, I'm just putting those into a little ramekin. And I keep cobbler in my fridge. All right, I make up a batch and just keep it in my fridge. And then whenever, or in my deep freeze sometimes, depends how much I've got. Here, I'm just going to literally do nothing other than just pour the mixture over the top. What's in there? Some oat flour, some almond flour, and some butter, and all mixed up together, all right? And now we're just going to let that cook for half an hour. I've got the caloric up at 350. It's just going to cook slowly. Now, while that's cooking, I've got to tell you how excited I am. You know, earlier today, during the broadcast earlier, I was showing you how well my pepper plants are growing. Look at that. They're this high already. That's pretty good. This one is actually higher. It's up here. And they're loving it right there. They're growing hydroponically. That means they're not in any earth. They're just in water. And they're already that high. So it's very, very exciting. But between the broadcast at lunchtime and this one, I was out in the garden getting dirty as usual. And I thought I would show you what I got out of my garden today. Potatoes. New potatoes out of my garden. Now, I tried to do this last year, you remember, and I didn't do very well. And how did I grow potatoes, you ask? That's what I'm having for dinner. My treat tonight, to reward myself for all the hard work, is to have new potatoes and butter for dinner. How unhealthy is that? And I don't care, because I deserve to enjoy these, right? So I thought I'd tell you what I did. I just kept one potato back and just let it sit in the warm. And when you let a potato get, in a warm temperature, these little eyes will grow shoots up. And all you do is you just cut off the bits where the shoots are, and you just put those in some earth. And the trick is that as the green I'm going to draw it for you. So I actually do mine in like grow bags, all right? So I've got a grow bag like this, okay? And all I do is I put some of my leaves that Dougie cleaned up for me in the autumn. I put a layer of leaves, and then I put a couple of those cut potatoes in here. And then I cover it with more leaves. And then it decides it wants to grow. So what happens is it comes up and you've got leaves like this coming up. So what you do is you just cover it with leaves again. Now what happens is it starts to grow roots now. And then it shoots up even higher with its leaves. And you cover it with more leaves here. And guess what? It's making more roots, and the roots become potatoes, right? And so you just keep doing that layer by layer until the leaves start to look all yellowy and they've had enough. And you go, okay, time to have a look. And today I got to have a look. It was so exciting. Now, that's not exciting. Hold on. Seriously? Behave yourself. So what's exciting is this is one batch that I put down. I've got at least another 2 that I will be able to look at. So how many of you, Jody's saying that will be the best tasting potato you've ever had, I bet. I just love new potatoes. However, it's a long process. Just to give you some idea, I planted these late winter, just before spring. I would say I probably started growing them about February or March. And, I've just literally been covering them up. The reason you need to cover them up is if a potato sees daylight, it goes green. Ever had a potato that looks green? It's because the potato actually got above the earth level. So it's very important that you go out and keep mounding them so that there's plenty of space between any potatoes growing and the top. And if you are very careful, you get a whole lot of them like I did. I was quite surprised. It was just like so exciting. So any minute now, I'm going to be able to keep myself. All right. First of all, can I do it? Yes, I can, apparently. And now, how many batches of potatoes do I need to have in the ground at any one time to be able to be self-sufficient? Right. So obviously, it's a lot more than I have in the ground at the moment. So what I'm doing is I took the smaller potatoes out of these and I just left them in the ground and going, you carry on growing. That's what you want to do, because they will grow and start again. And I'll just monitor them. They might not even come up very well until next year. But the point is, I've already got them in the ground, and that very fertile ground that I've been nurturing. So I thought you guys would be interested to see that. I was. All right, so let's see. First thing, for this recipe, we're going to need oat flour. Well, have you got oat flour at home? I haven't, but I sure have oats. So let's mill the oats and produce oat flour. So I got it in my blender with a steel blade in it, and let's see how it goes. Gonna be noisy. So now this has come down quite a bit, but I'd like it to, it's still a little bigger than I would like. So now I'm going to put it in the magic bullet. See what it does. In here, I think. No. Yeah. Actually, I could use my Ninja. You know, it might be quicker. Hold on. Go again. And in no time at all, I now have oat flour. How simple was that? And let me just see what they called for. 1 3/4 cups of oat flour, which we now have. Okay, very simple. By the way, the more we can do these things for ourselves, the better we're going to be in terms of saving money. So the next thing it calls for is about 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Well, guess what? I didn't have baking soda in the house, so what can you substitute in? If you haven't got baking soda, what can you put in instead? Do you know? There are about 4 different options, but the easy one is just to put in baking powder. So what did they call for here? They called for about 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. It's just to help it rise. Tuck that in. All right, and yeah. There are other things you can put in. I can't remember what they are, but I probably find it. I probably printed it out. We'll see. All right, now a pinch of salt. Okay, some Himalaya salt in there. Not too much. And we need to put in 2 medium eggs at room temperature. So here they are, my beautiful. Don't you love the color of my eggs? These are my omega-3 eggs. Love them. So just going to mix those up. And they're saying about they said about 1/2 cup of honey. No, I did not make the bees. But what I do is I buy raw honey and just keep it on my countertop here, and it becomes just beautiful. There we go. And if ever I feel like I'm in need of a shot of sweetness, I just come and take 1/2 teaspoon. So good. All right, and then it said 1/2 cup of coconut oil. And I've got that in here. And so what I did was I heated it in the microwave until it melted and then cool it. All right, so I'm going to put that in. And then about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I've got the white here. I just, put a capful. And 1/4 cup of milk. Really? I don't want to put milk in. I'm going to put I'm going to put in yogurt. Jody, I know you were talking about that. Hang on a second. Jody's saying triple the amount of baking powder that you would use for baking soda. For example, if the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of baking soda, use 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Thank you. I will double up a bit. So I'm going to put some yogurt in here rather than milk because it's even better for you. And the zest from a lemon, my zester. Come on. I can never remember which way around it is. I think it's this way. Okay, it's going to take far too long, so I'm just going to use it like a peeler. You can just use a grater as well if you want to. What you're looking for is just to take the skin, the outside of the skin. You don't want the white stuff, just the thing. Yum. Just the smell alone is worth making it. Now, lemons are very good for you, Jody. Just can you tell everybody about the benefits of lemons? I know it's anti-inflammatory. So anytime you use lemons, it's good for your body. Okay, we're just about there. I've got lemon zest all over me now. All right, and some chia seeds. Everybody got chia seeds now? All right, lemons contain high amount of vitamin C, soluble fiber again, and plant compounds that give them a number of health benefits. Lemons may add to weight loss and reduce the risk of heart disease. All right, so we know we need to add lemons regularly to our diet. Jody, you said I've got to double up on the... We did half a teaspoon, so I'm going to put another whole spoon in. 3 times the amount of baking powder. There we go. Done. Thank you for that, Jody. The thing that I read said 1 to 1. It was a direct swap, so it's interesting. Jody's also adding very good for and lemons are very good for anemia. That's when you've got low iron, kidney stones, digestive issues, and cancer. So good thing to have. Now I'm going to mix all this up and see what it looks like. The thing about making muffins is you don't want to over mix it. So it's just until you've got it incorporated, really. So I'm not going to do it in a blender or anything. I'm just going to let it just do its thing like this. That's pretty good. And now I've got my silicone muffin things inside my mold, so they're probably going to turn out heart shape, which I think is going to look cute. Just gives it a bit more stability. So I'm just going to take a measure. You know me, it's a dollop. Yeah, enough for one more, I think. But not two. So we'll divide this up a little bit. More in there, more in there, more in there. So, yum. Now, because we're trying to use up things, I'm going to put some cranberries on top and just push them in. Cranberries are very good for you as well. Because I forgot to use them in the cobbler, I'm going to use them here instead. I try to use cranberries every week. I put them on my salads. I make sure that I've put them in my smoothies sometimes. But I think the mix of lemon and cranberry is a nice mix. So we're going to put that into the air fryer. We've never baked in the air fryer before, have we? It'll be interesting. That one. Well, the cobbler's done. Wow, that's amazing. We'll leave it in for another. Right, that's Jody. We've got 13 minutes on there, but I need a reminder in about 5 to get the cobbler out. And officially, they say how long did they say to cook it for? Let's just see. Oh, I forgot to put the chia seeds in. Yikes. Never mind. I'll do the chia seeds and something else. But, don't be afraid of what you put in there. Just, add things. They say about 20 minutes. So we got 15 now at the moment. So in 5 minutes time, Jody, just give me a heads up if you would. And I will take out my cobbler and then make sure it's got about 20 minutes on it. We good? All right. So then I was looking and said, okay, fine. There are other ways we could have done this. All right. And the other way we could have done it is just literally take a muffin mix. And I've got to start using up my muffin mix, but I did want to do it from scratch so you guys could see that I wasn't cheating. But I normally cheat, all right? And I just buy a muffin mix and then just add the fruit to it. So don't be afraid to do that. And so quite honestly, it's a much quicker way. The other thing I want you to think about, how many of you were interested in the fact that I made the cobbler ahead of time and keep it in my fridge? All right. The reason is because I never know quite when I'm going to make cobbler, but when I make it, I'm inclined to make about a cupful. And so what I did was I used just enough to cover what I wanted. Remember, portion control is important. And then I just keep the rest in a baggie and use it in a week or so, when I feel like having something really decadent again. So very easy to do. I read a cookbook many years ago, and one of the things that it recommended was make the dry ingredients, mix them up. So you end up with, basically you can do that by buying this. And then just keep this jar. Whenever you want a muffin, just take out enough and add an egg to it or something. We didn't have any eggs in there, did we? Yes, we did too. And that's what I found out as well. Some of you have seen me make just one mini cake, from taking out some cake mix, just enough for my ramekin, and just throwing in an egg and beating it up, and it will rise beautifully, and I'll have a beautiful cake from my microwave in a minute, 2 minutes max. So, there are ways of doing it where you don't have to have a full cake, because if I had a full cake, I would eat a full cake. So it's no maybe for me. I cannot do these things in that way. The muffins I'm going to make, I'm going to allow myself a couple, and the rest will get frozen, because if I don't freeze them, I will eat them. All right, now then, the other thing I did this week was, I buy nuts in bulk. And what happens is at the bottom, you start getting, there's not very much there now, but you start getting bits of nuts. And so what I did was I put them in a sieve, and I got out this many nuts from the bottom. Now, most people will just throw those away, but I'm not like that. So I said, okay, let's make some cookies with nuts in them. So basic stuff here. And again, a very simple recipe. Now then, this calls for about 4 teaspoons of butter, tablespoons, okay? So I call that a chunk. Wonder how many tablespoons that is. Probably, what do you reckon? That's about 4? It's about half full. Yeah, I reckon it's about 4. My homemade butter, people. So it's time to use it up, because I've got more cream and I'll be making more butter. And if it's too much, we'll find out in a minute. Okay, so there's the butter. And it calls for about 1/4 cup of cooking oil. Canola. So my canola, so put a little bit of that in. Okay, and then we probably needs more than that, but I think I got a bit extra butter. 1 cup of powdered sugar. You all know how to make powdered sugar. Thank you, Jody. Time is up. Oops. Oh, that's so good. The cobbler. See how it's just browning nicely on the top? Doesn't take long on that air fry. So I'm going to put it on top to keep warm. Because that's going to come after the potatoes. Where were we? All right, so we've got that. Oh, yeah, sugar. Basically, powdered sugar, take whatever you use as sugar. I here have, this might be, that's definitely not sugar. I'm glad I tasted that. That is not sugar. I thought it was. I think it's bicarb. So do I have sugar? Okay, I'm gonna mix it. Now this is my mixed sugar. I mix stevia and brown sugar together, and then I punched holes in the top of this so that I can sprinkle it on my coffee sometimes. So how much sugar do they call for? A cup of powdered sugar. It's way too much for me. So I'm just going to put some, maybe half, more than enough. I take a teaspoon of baking powder. So we'll put a couple of these in. And you can tell that I don't use it often. It's got lumps in it. All right, that's good. What else do we need? A little bit of salt again. Not too much. And then it says 2 tablespoons of chopped pistachios and almonds. Well, what do we know? They want nuts. So I'm going to use the nuts that I've got. What did I do with them? Oh, we're going to put the chia in there as well, because chia is healthy. Okay. What did I do with the nuts? You saw that I had it in a little container. There it is, right next to me. All right, so I'm just going to huck these in. You go. And we'll mix that up, see what it looks like. Got a feeling we should have some flour in here. Yep. 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So let's do this. Well, we're not going to use all-purpose flour because we're doing healthy, right? So all that mixed up quite nicely. Yum. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in some almond flour, because that's good for us. And also some more oatmeal. There we go. And what I found by doing this, by replacing white flour with oats and almond flour is very expensive, but oats are pretty cheap. So I just put a mixture of oats and almond flour instead of the white flour. And there we go. Actually, just about perfect. Nobody more surprised than I am. it back in there. Just a little bit of almond flour at the bottom. There you go. Now, in the same way, you and I know the more cookies I make, the more I will eat. So I'm just going to make a few. And I'm going to do them in my muffin trays, because I can. Because I actually quite like my cookies soft. So, all right, let me think. I've got potatoes. I've got cobbler. I think 3 cookies is enough, right? So there they are, my 3 cookies right there. And the rest of it, I'm just going to freeze. Because if I don't freeze it, I will use it and eat it. Actually, I'm going to do it in something else. This is called out of sight, out of mind, right? So what I'm going to do is just put enough. It was about 1/3, so I'm going to put another 1/3 in there. And then the rest of it in here. So that next time I feel like having cookies, I know I can make 3 at a time. Here's your tip for the day. I buy mailing labels and then I cut them up and use them as freezer labels. I don't know if you know this, but this has been like in the freezer forever, and it comes out looking just like that. And I use it again the next time I make shepherd's pie. So here we're going to just put in cookies. I like the idea that it's reusable. Okay. Now I can read what it is. Okay. And that's going to go in the freezer. I hope. Yum. That's pretty awesome. Now, can you see that all I'm doing is cooking with stuff that I have too much of? And I'm turning it into things that will be a treat for me during the week, right? That's part of my meal prepping is, I have dessert every day. So how do I turn a muffin into dessert? What do you think? they look good. They're probably just about done. Let's check them. Yeah, see them. Look good? Yes, Jody's suggesting that we could. Gonna put the cookies in. No, they won't take that long. I have to keep remembering that it's the air fryer. It cooks things faster. So, can I get one of these out is the question, without burning myself. Yes. There we go. They look good, don't they? So yes, how do I turn this into dessert? Quite right, Jody. I could have it with ice cream, make a very nice dessert. Or I could, yeah, that's my preference. I could top it with cream cheese frosting. Instant dessert, all right? However, like everything else, it's how much do you put on? So I like to put mine on the time when they tell you not to, which is when it's hot. Why? You'll see. How many do I want? If I put frosting on 3, I will eat 3. Oh, what the heck. All right, now then. What we need to remember is they are basically health food. And it's only the little bit of frosting. You see, I put less than a teaspoon of frosting on each one. But now I'm going to spread it around so it becomes a glaze. Come on. Be a glaze for me. Well, hi, Katie. Good to see you. So nice and easy to do, right? And all I'm doing is using stuff that needs to be used. And all of these are basically pretty healthy. Now, what else could I have done? What else could I have put in those muffins? All right. I could have put in oranges. I got too many oranges. But what I decided was I will treat myself to orange juice tomorrow morning. I don't do that very often. But what I will do is I will put it all in my Nigel the Ninja and make myself a really nice thing of orange juice tomorrow. And so there we have it. Pretty easy stuff. And so in less than an hour, I made muffins. We've got the cookies cooking right now. We know that I didn't use white flour. And all I did was get creative about what I did use. How many of you can see that it's not that what you can't eat, it's what you can eat, and that's good for you? And so you look at it and go, it's so easy to make these swaps. I didn't get all tied up in exact measurements. I know roughly what it should look like, and I keep mixing until it's done. Very, very important to not get tied up with the perfect, well, I just never will make the perfect muffin or the perfect cookie, because I just make it because I want it. And I do it the simplest way I know how. But it's not bad for you when you are using fresh fruit and good ingredients. Does that make sense, everybody? You don't have to go full-blown keto or whatever it is, but just take the best of it and go, what can I learn? What you can learn is don't use white flour. All right? Isabel likes my way. It's a pleasure. It's just that you know me, I'm a rebel. So you told me I couldn't have muffins anymore. You know what I do? It's just like, really? You're going to tell me I can't have muffins, all right? Or I can't have a cookie. So I just went, what can I have? Well, it's really good that I have almond flour. Very expensive. So I went, well, I can't afford to have almond flour instead of. And then I realized oat flour is so good for me. And I can mix some almond flour and some oat flour. And how difficult was it to make oat flour, people? Just take some oats and put them in your magic bullet or your blending machine or whatever. You have got instant oat flour. You don't have to go down to the mill and grind it, all right? We have the technology today to be able to do it very easily. So what else could I use the extra oranges for? Okay. What else could I use the extra oranges for? How many of you love grilled oranges? If you haven't had them, you need to try them. If you think about using them, sliced over fish, obviously, or over chicken, great. I could have, make smoothies out of them. In fact, I will probably make a cranberry orange smoothie tomorrow morning, or almost a freezy pop thing. You've never had grilled oranges? Wonderful. Yes, Jody, good idea. How about I make myself a salad, but with orange bits on top and some cranberries, all right? Very good idea. So the fact that I've got too many in the house doesn't mean they need to go to waste. Can I throw them in the freezer, people? Could I also slice them up and dehydrate them in my greenhouse oven, as I call it? It's actually a greenhouse window, but it gets so hot in there, it's like an oven. What I thought I'd show you. It's amazing how hot it is. Oh, wrong one. Sun-dried lemons. Yes, citrus water. Absolutely great idea. All right. But you understand now, the good news about this is I can sun-dry them. But I find these little brown paper bags a really good way to dehydrate food, because you can put it flat. But it means the bugs don't get to what you're trying to dehydrate with the sun. Think about, sun-dried tomatoes, sun-dried citrus. And if it's dehydrated, you're not using up freezer space. And that's what I'm trying to make sure I use less freezer space for things that I can dehydrate. So Can you see that the frosting now sort of melted a bit over there? So it's got a lot more coverage than it would normally have, but not for more. I didn't put extra frosting on there. I just put it on while it was hot, and then it creates like a glaze. Wonderful. Make room. So in no time at all, oh, that needs to be eaten. We have five muffins and some dried cranberries now I'm eating. Re-dried cranberries. So here are my, oh, not quite enough. Okay. Thought it was done and it isn't. Hold on 1 second. Experiments. You're getting back in. I've got a feeling that my nut cookies could end up being crumble. Oh. Yep. But the question is, how does it taste? Nothing wrong with the taste, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to put those back. So there we go. Nice, easy, and mostly healthy. I think that's the important thing. So let's cut into one. Okay. What's not to love? I can taste the lemon. I can got the crunch of the cranberry. These would have been good with orange as well. Maybe I'll do that. Very tasty. And if I could just stop at one, that would be, a nice, easy way to eat my oats every day. I'm sorry I didn't get the chia seed in there. Well, it feels substantial, right? Doesn't feel like a mini muffin. It feels pretty substantial. Especially if I have the second half. Now, the next thing I'm going to do while you're still here is put some potatoes in. Yeah, that's right. Jody's saying 3 of mine are probably equal to one of the ones that you buy in the store. I agree. If I take little potatoes, I'm going to take that many potatoes as my quota for today. And you know I'm going to enjoy them. Why not? So the question is, you guys notice that I'm doing a lot of my things in silicone, all right? And I have bigger silicone type things here. I find with an air fryer, the biggest issue is keeping them clean. Do any of you have an air fryer? And so what I've learned is cook in glass, or if you can, in silicone. Obviously, when you are air frying fries, you want to have the fries in the basket. But most of the things I cook in there, I do it on silicone. And that way, it's much easier to clean up. It all goes into the dishwasher, and it's nice and easy. Any questions about tonight? Just so that I've got them covered, if you've got any. Oh, please write lots so I can eat. Can you see, those of you who got kids, make a plate of healthy muffins and leave them on the counter. They'll be eaten. The whole thing that I find is put the fruit into things that are interesting for children. Do I think the muffins would hold up in the mail in New Hampshire? No, I don't. They wouldn't make it to the packaging department. But Jody, can you see how easy that was? So I think we get tied up with the fact that we're not allowed to have food. And I'm saying I'm allowed to have it if I'm aware of what I'm cooking. And if I cook it myself and don't go buy it in the store. Now, can you imagine the difference in calories, etc.? As Jody said, if I'd gone and bought this in a store, you could send me blueberry chocolate. We're in the same country. Hasn't got to cross the border. Feel free. Really, don't let it stop you. Is But what I want you all to get the idea of is that I am so obsessed with eating well, even though I'm diabetic, that I am doing the most incredible creative cooking. Would it survive? Probably not in the summer. But if you were thinking of maybe sending it in the fall, it would be just as appreciated. Or maybe even in the winter, you know. Do I think it will survive? It's not going to survive when it gets here, is don't send too much, please. Well, I mean, send whatever you like, but if you freeze them, yeah, I would put them in the freezer. The worst that can happen is they can change color. Do I care? I've never had blueberry chocolate. Now, that's the other thing. Do you guys know that I eat chocolate every day? How many of you are surprised to hear that because I'm diabetic? You see, again, it's about I wanted to eat chocolate. So I buy my chocolate in bulk, like this. And every day, I allow myself a slice. All right? You understand? I just cut a nice slither off the end there, and I allow myself a slice a day. Some of you know I have bread every day, but it's my own bread that I make, my own sourdough multigrain bread. And I have managed, touching wood, because I've got to go and have an A1C pretty soon, but I've managed to keep my blood sugar under control eating these things, but not a lot of them. Now, I did go out to dinner with Doug, all right? And there, it was really quite funny because I did have the most incredible, I actually called for the 6-ounce sirloin, and Doug said, don't do that, have the 8-ounce. So I said, okay, honey. And I wanted the lobster as well. So I said, well, I can always take it home. And then he said, you need to have the fries as well, right? So I had the fries, and then I had the roasted vegetables. And, I all but licked the plate clean. It was a special occasion. And you taught me that, Jody. You're allowed to live and enjoy it. And then I had, ice cream cake afterwards. So, it's like, I'm probably going to delay my A1C by a week or so, just so I can get enough water into my system to flush a lot of that out. But, it's just like, I think it was the greatest lesson you taught me, Jody, is don't think that you can't have things. It's just how often do you have them? When was the last time I had a muffin? Probably 6 months ago, at least. So I'm going to enjoy some muffins this week. All right? And I won't be having my usual dessert. I'll be having a muffin with some little bit of frosting on top. And the chances are I might even put a bit extra on one of them. You know that. See, it's not about depriving myself. It's about, can I keep my blood sugar under control? And how will I know? I normally don't bother to take my blood sugar and test anymore, except for maybe once or twice a week. This week I will need to take it tomorrow because I've been sampling a lot of the good stuff here. And then it'll help me know how much correction I need to do. Quite simple. So there we go. Use oat flour rather than white flour. And the question is, can you do it one for one? I would say experiment, with your whatever temperature you've got wherever you live. Some things are easier to do than others. If you're been cooking stuff for a while in your life, roughly what it should look like before you put it into the oven. I made a tactical error with the cookies, but not bad. The muffins were great. Um, and what I will do is just leave them in there. And the worst that's going to happen to those is if they crumble again, they'll become crumble, right? And I'll just put them over tomorrow's. We know it's nut crumble. So I might put it, just crumble it over a salad or use it up some other way. Do you understand? It's just like it's all doable if you are creative and don't get tied into it too much. All right, everybody. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy my potatoes out of my garden. I'm so looking forward to this. I can't tell you. And then what I'm going to do is, have another muffin for dessert, and try not to eat the rest of them until tomorrow. And I will see you on Sunday. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, don't stop eating good stuff. Just eat good stuff. And I kept thinking I haven't got the colors of the rainbow. And then I thought, yeah, they were in the muffin. The muffin liners were colorful, right? But I had the red of cranberries. I had the orange of peaches. I had the orange of oranges. I had the yellow of lemons. So, and the red of cranberries. So you look at it and go, there was actually more color in there than I gave myself credit for. So don't forget to add fruit to your stuff. Also, it helps bulk it up, makes it tastier. Just a plain oat muffin is not that tasty in my mind. But what if you'd added cinnamon, and what if you'd added, all sorts of things? So make it interesting to you and you will eat better. That's what I found. If I make it so that it's tasty for me, it doesn't have to be terrible for me. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, enjoy your experiments and love you seriously. Seriously, I love you. And seriously, keep playing with your food. It's wonderful. Jody, thanks for all your help. And everybody, I'll see you on Sunday when we'll talk about coping with stress. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you for your time. I'm hungry. And bye-bye for now.